Every year I have the honor of presenting the Advisor of the Year award, and one thing about this year's applications that was noted by the committee, that a common thread ran through each of them, and the common thread was connections. The notion that advisors make a conscious effort to connect with each and every one of their students, and they connect with genuine interest and care. This room, although we will be recognizing 2 people tonight, this room is filled with teachers, activity coordinators, principals, office managers, club and class advisors, camp staff, all who serve student leaders with the goal of making connections and creating connections in their schools that will build a climate and culture where ASB truly means A, all, B, S. I didn't have that much wine. All students belong. Each of you in this room, you listen, you connect, you support, you steer, you redirect when needed, and most of all, you love. You open your doors and your hearts. You show kindness and respect. Each of you, in whatever role you serve, are teaching kids to lead with compassion and character. Those are skills that are really needed. For many students, your program is what keeps them in school, and the work that your students do keep others in school. And I've realized throughout this conference, I've known for years that your work is really hard. Your work is even harder given the school situations that you face and the challenges of test scores and the challenges of reaching the needs of kids that have so many needs that used to be filled in other places. And your work is really hard, and you are really good at it. And I'd like you right now, if you would, to make eye contact with somebody at your table and say, you know, we're really good at this, because that's what you need to do, okay? A hug would be appropriate too, okay? There's a toast going on over here. This makes me feel really good, because that's what we all need to celebrate, and you need to celebrate the work that each of you do in all elements of your life in student leadership. You truly all make a difference. And then we also single out each year one middle school and one high school to represent our State Advisor of the Year. And so 2 of your colleagues will be honored tonight. This award is sponsored by the Association of Washington Student Leaders, which is a division of the Association of Washington School Principals. Our student leadership in our state's been around. This is our 61st year of programming with principal sponsorship. I thank the Herff Jones Company, who annually presents 2 beautiful plaques to our winners. And so this year I'm going to start with the middle level, and this year's middle level Advisor of the Year is Ryan Simpson from Northwood Middle School in the Kent School District. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Ryan. He has been at the school for 8 years and was first there as the ASB advisor and now is the leadership teacher, kind of switching roles in that. And for me personally, Ryan made a splash pretty early on in his career when I happened to run into his principal at a meeting that I was attending because of my role with the Principals Association. And when I went to that meeting that spring, she's retired now, but Colleen Nelson came to the meeting on a scooter, you know, like the kind when you break your foot, you're rolling around on a scooter. And I said, Colleen, what happened? And she said, well, I broke my foot in a dodgeball tournament, and there's no one in the world that could have ever gotten me to play dodgeball in a school-wide tournament except my new advisor, Ryan Simpson. And Ryan made his mark then and continues to make his mark. I would like to share with you, talking about connections, this is a former student of Ryan's who said this about him. I thought instead of reading like what their principals say, because they're like, well, yeah, of course they do a great job of making it. I thought hearing from a student or a former student might be better. So here's what one of Ryan's students said. Ryan has done a tremendous job in shaping who I have become today. He is undeniably one of the most life-changing individuals in my world, and I'm beyond blessed to have met him. He's helped me grow through time where I didn't think I could step out of my personal barriers. He's given me new perspectives on the importance of why we live, how we live, and what we live for. He gave me a choice to take on different platforms of challenges, and I loved every single bit of it. Above all, he is truly a beautiful human being and a valuable person to the leadership community. I'm proud to say that I've known him through this leadership community for a number of years, and it's with great pleasure that I introduce to you Ryan Simpson, our Middle Level Advisor of the Year.
Thank you, Susan. I don't even know where to start. I mean, I feel not only so honored, but just so humbled, because I've been fighting to get to WACA for years, and this is the first WACA I've gotten to go to. And the number of people that I've met in this room that truly are an inspiration and motivation and encouraging, and it continues to drive me and the work that I want to do back in my school and in my district. So thank you, first of all, to all of you. I really appreciate it. The other thing that I wanted to make sure that I point out when I was thinking back to kind of where I came from, it was 16 years ago this year that I first called up and said, hey, can I be a part of a leadership camp? And I was told by Marty then, well, we have some spots in this thing called Cascade Middle Level Leadership Camp. And I thought, sure, that sounds like fun. And it was the fact that Cascade took a risk on a really young kid who had been through a leadership program but never had one of those titles, ran twice, lost, didn't have that label tied to the name, and they still said, you can still make that difference. And that was a difference maker for me. And I owe it to directors of that program like Ruth Anderson, Jeff Sabato, and Tricia McDonald for taking that risk and saying, yeah, let's see what you can do. And if it wasn't for that opportunity, not only would I not be teaching probably in a school and running leadership programs, but that wouldn't have led me to having 3 amazing years working with the Mount Olympus crew with the high school camp, or I think we're at 5 years working with Joe Fenbert, not only for the middle level team retreat, but for middle level regionals. And all of that together has really kind of pushed the way that I approach my classroom. And actually 3 years ago, I was talking to the delegates at Mount Olympus, and I told them the same thing that I continue to tell my students today. And that is that this leadership class and this school is for every single person in this school. You don't need to have a label tied to your name. You don't need to have won a specific office, and you don't need to fit a certain mold. You have the opportunity to make a difference if you choose to. And that's the message that I know we all carry back to our schools and our leadership programs, because those are for every single person in that school. It's for that girl who cries herself to sleep at night because she fears going to school the next day. And it's for that boy who hides his true sexual orientation because he dreads what his friends might think of him. It's for that stuttering child that elects silence over speech. And it's for that overweight child who's afraid to unpack his lunch in the school cafeteria. Our schools and our programs are for that geeky girl who doesn't yet know that she'll one day grow up to be a renowned physicist. And they're for that boy who knows that he wants to make a difference, but is still trying to figure out just how to do that. It's for that student with autism who's bullied in the hallway, and even though he always doesn't understand the words that are being said, he knows that something is wrong. He's for that girl who's mocked because of, they're for the girl who's mocked because of the color of her skin, and they're for the brothers and sisters who worship at altars that other families fear. And that's the true message. Our programs and our schools are for everyone. The nonconformists, the outcasts, the marginalized, the ignored. They're for every single person. And that's why, as I continue to go back, and I know as you will continue to go back, we will state that simple message to our students over and over again, whether they're currently part of leadership or not. And that message is, you are not alone. Thank you.
This year's High School Advisor of the Year is, I found out a fun fact tonight that I didn't know. I did know that she's from Liberty High School in Issaquah. I do know that she started off as a teacher there, PE teacher there, but has been the activity coordinator and leadership teacher for the last 10 years. 7 years prior to that, she was there as a PE teacher. I didn't know until tonight that she also graduated from that school. And so when you talk about somebody who knows their school and knows the community and knows the climate and culture there, Michelle Munson would be an example of that. Michelle, again, having great words from her principal and other people supporting her. There were some real powerful words in a letter that was written by one of her seniors. This student said, "When I am in need of empowerment, advice, a listener, or simply someone to talk to amidst the chaos of life, Mrs. Munson is the adult that I turn to." Throughout high school, Mrs. Munson has been my guide, my rock, my mentor, my role model, and my friend. She's not only the teacher who takes the time to ask me how my day was, or who looks over my college application before I submit it, but she is also a remarkable woman who lifts my spirits when I've been beaten down, who shows me love and care through hard times, and who consistently reminds me of the promise of the future. I can only hope to be as kind, wise, and as loving of a woman as she is. I can confidently say that I'm a better person because of her. And through her other recommendation from her administration, I can confidently say that the school is a better place because of the work of Michelle Munson. Congratulations to our high school advisor.
I'm 20 years old. It's winter break of my junior year in college, and I have a few days left before I have to go back to WSU. I call my parents into the living room because I have an announcement. Mom, Dad, I am going to be a teacher. Now, up until this moment, I had about 2.5 years of college where I changed my major every semester because I didn't know what I wanted to be. I had 7 majors. Yep. I loved a class, so I decided that's what I wanted to be. I thought they would be thrilled that I had a plan. Their firstborn knew what she was going to do. The skies would open, confetti would fall, the drum line would come through our hallways. Silence. Okay, I tried again. I said I'm going to be a teacher. Even better, I'm going to be a PE teacher. At this point, I note a lot of relief on my mom's face, and I think, okay, I've got an ally. It turns out she's just really happy I'm not announcing I'm pregnant. True story. My father's face, zero reaction. This man who works for Boeing is not as easily impressed and says to me one word in his deepest baritone voice. Why? What do you mean, why? He said it again. Why? I realize at this time I really can't say June, July, and August. So I say, I'll get back to you. I've got a plan. So I go to my childhood bedroom. I spend the next couple of days cutting out pictures, putting things on a poster board, figuring out my whys. It's 1992. There is no PowerPoint, so old school poster board. And I figure out what I'm going to, how I'm going to present this. And so I take it to them, and I've got my why. And I eventually present the board to my parents, and they love to tell the story to this day about how that presentation made them want to sit in my classroom. And now I stand here 22 years later, living out my why as a teacher every day. Now, you might think that was pretty rough of them, and it was, but imagine when my brother told them he wanted to be a drama major. Now, he works at Universal Studios in Florida, so it all worked out, but he had a bigger picture board he had to make. Now, over the years, my multiple whys have whittled into one, and it's community. It's at the core of who I am. I had one picture on that board to represent that why. Me in front of Liberty High School and wearing my cheer uniform, and I'm laughing. I don't know what I was laughing at, but I'm laughing. When I pasted that board on the picture, the picture on the board, all I dreamed for was to make a difference in a community where teachers and students and parents do what is best for kids. I'm lucky enough, so very lucky, to work in the very high school where I attended, and I think I always knew it's where I would land. There's a sign on the road leading to our school called Patriot Way. Every day that sign serves to remind me that I need to use my voice, that I'm obligated to use my voice to work with my students, to create a climate where we do what is best for students, all students. For me, that is the Patriot Way. Liberty's changed in a lot of ways since I've graduated, but that strong sense of community has never wavered, and it's a community I love. I'm committed to standing alongside students and staff to create a culture of inclusion, and I work fiercely to protect it. We are far from perfect, but I do believe we are a place where we take care of each other on the good days and the bad, and we've all seen those. So right now what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to picture your picture board. Maybe you have a couple of things in mind. Wake up every day with the opportunity to make a difference. Guide and mentor students with meaningful lessons. Help students be the best versions of themselves. Sing the school fight song on a Friday night with students. I don't know. It's different for everybody. But when we live out our whys, we are living our very best versions of ourselves. And you are making those whys come true every day. At this conference, we are given a chance to come together to grow as professionals and to be reminded of our whys. This organization strives to make us better as advisors and bookkeepers, teachers, and administrators. And some of you sitting here are my Rainier family, you're my Area 2 people, you're my Kinko team, my ISD buddies, or maybe you're my former student sitting in the back who's probably, there she is, and she's probably put some of this on the Snapchat. But all of you are my community. I always call it the Snapchat because it's like a thing, right? And I am honored to stand here today. In closing, I would love to invite you to do one thing with me for the two biggest whys in my life, and that's my husband and my son. Without them as my cheerleaders, there is no way I could do what I do. My husband's been a stay-at-home dad for 10 years since our son was born, so that I can do what I do, and we make it work. And it's hard, but we make it work. One of my son's favorite things to do at a big event is a toast. It's his favorite thing altogether. And he literally can't wait for it to happen, like shakes. So what I would love to do right now is to invite you to lift your glass. I'm going to lift my WSU water bottle. And I want us to celebrate our community and the work we do to make our whys a reality every single day. To community. Thank you. Have a good night.